Welcome, everyone, my friends and patriots. So glad to be back with you this evening. I am, looking forward to a brief but jam-filled, jam-packed show for you tonight. Thank you for all the well wishes. I am feeling much better after I laid down for a little bit last night. And stretched and did the Healy and did some arnica and some CBD cream. So I threw the kitchen sink at it. So I am much better. I was having some neck issues. I'm still feeling it right there. That went up into my head and gave me a splitting headache last night. So no worries. All is well, my friends. And thank you for reaching out. Also, thank you for sharing this out. If you wouldn't mind, please share this. Especially, I just want to reaffirm how strong it is to share to groups. Many of our listeners around the world found us because I shared to, UK for 5G, Australians for freedom, things of that nature. So it was it's those types of groups that find us, and also the reason why it's so important to share out is because many of you would not have found this community if it weren't for somebody in your community sharing this to you. So thank you for that, and I want to get into it. And so here we go, my friends. First of all, I went back to the box today, and just lost my phone. These are all new sympathy cards from you all regarding my dad, Wally. And I wanted to, hold on, let me get my phone. There we go. It's going to start making some noise here if I don't get it. There we go. Okay. And there we go. Welcome to my world, my friends. So here we go. And so thank you for that. And also thank you to Cindy, who sent this, didn't get a last name, Sindy, I believe. In that little half moon or crescent moon and that little ball, it says when someone from our home goes to heaven, it leaves a little piece of heaven in our home. And beautiful, beautiful little thing. And thank you for that. Thank you so much for the thoughts. And I got to show you this. This just came, and I don't know who sent it, but I got to show this to you. Check this out. This are shots from one of the shows that I did with Papa Sned. And it has all several screenshots from that particular show. And what a beautiful, beautiful gift. And it shows us hugging, shows me talking about his big earlobes. He's given us some wisdom in these words in this bit, I'm sure, and also providing us with some laughs, and the indoctrination starring Wally Snedeker. How fabulous is that, my friends? That will go up on the wall in the studio. I'll show you the resting place for it when I get it done. So much thanks to you. How awesome are you all? And again, I'm not even opening all the sympathy cards at once. I'm just staggering them over several days so that I can get a bit of love when I need it from you. And it's fresh and it's beautiful. So thank you all for that. And it's much appreciated. My friends, here we are. Yeah, we're back on YouTube. We are on David Snedeker on YouTube, my friends, if you want to check that out. And always you can find us on theindoctrination.com. Let me just show you that for those of you who are new or haven't seen this. If you go to theindoctrination.com, theindoctrination.com, you'll see right here all the different areas in which we broadcast. I don't know if we're updated yet with Rob updated it with David Snedeker. So there you see us live right there. Okay, so many thanks, Rob, to all the great stuff that you're doing, and also all the great work you're doing with 7K. Folks, if you want to check out 7K, please reach out. Check out this Wealth Strategies Jason Arfman interview, and sign up and talk to Todd, Cindy, or Nancy about, and just ask them about it. Ask them about what's going on there, and I'll talk. I'll drop a little bit something on that a little bit later for you as well. My friends, we are in a struggle, a battle, and we can make it as much of a struggle as we want. And for those who manage that struggle, manage the input that is coming at us in a way that serves us, we are far better off. And so highly recommend that we get a handle, get a control over how we manage the information that is coming at us. We have like 5 fire hoses flowing at us because of the sheer amount of conflict that exists in the world around us. And that conflict in the past, I feel, has been something that has certainly divided, but not like today. And today we are divided. It is whether or not, see, I was a conspiracy theorist before conspiracy theorists were cool. And it's been a long haul for me, and even longer for many. And when I see what's happening in the world around us, I am emboldened because people are waking up. And as I've mentioned to you, without the extreme absurdities, people would not have awakened. And for many of you, those extreme absurdities may have occurred before others allow it to affect them. May have occurred in such a way that it might have been the pandemic. We all have our tipping point. And so I think it's best, if we can, to withhold judgment as much as possible for those who are still not awake, and do the best we can to gently guide us. Okay. We're going to get into the food here, because this is going to be the next pandemic, by the way. Yes, Jennifer, it is a very exciting time to be alive, and that's a great way to look at this. Think about it. We are alive at the time of this, great awakening of humanity, and as we were talking about Papa Sned here for a moment, and how he was very disappointed in how the world was so conflicted and so messed up. But one of the things that I think that he really got from me is that we are winning, and it's the sheer absurdity that is being presented on a daily basis that is so beautiful. That in the sense that it is the thing that will awaken us all. Thank you, Billy, for that. And so, my friends, we have a lot of work to do, not just to awaken others, but awaken ourselves. Because one of the things that I want to guard against, and one of the things that I thought about quite a bit when I was by myself, thinking about the loss of my father, the illness of my brother, mortality in general, uh, life in general, was one of the things that I kept coming back to is that, you see, the indoctrination has those of us who are not awakened yet, right? The indoctrination still has these people in their grips, the gaslighting, the corporations that are still managing information in such a way that keeps people from learning the truth about what's really going on. So here's the thing, is that the indoctrination also has you and I, because we are aware of it. And so now we are so aware of it, we are now trying to awaken others to it, and we're also trying to find out as much as we can about it and how it came to be. And so with the relaunch of me post Papa Sned going to heaven, and also with the upcoming launch of Truthcast Media, I am looking to really stand more in solution, stand more in the light, and stand less in the darkness. And I ask you to join me in that journey, because we can be aware of the darkness, we can open the door, we can shine the light in, we can show others, but we've got to be careful to not get caught up in that, right? And so I just want to absolutely call on us all to live in the light as best we can. And I got to tell you, in my darkness of my despair and my grief of what's happening in my life, I love the light that is coming from you all. And one example is right behind me here. This beautiful piece from Cindy. So thank you for that. Thank you for this wonderful portrait of my father and I, of that special day, the second day I had him on. I'm going to have to play the first day over again. And so much light coming from you all. So thank you for that. And it just goes to show how much light we have in this community and how strong we are in that light. So, hey, my friends, we are approaching 1,000 beautiful folks in the Sned Shed across all platforms. We are presently on, and I'll show you what my chat looks like here as it goes flying by, all of you wonderful people. So we are on YouTube, David Snedeker. We are on D Live, The Indoctrination. We are on Facebook, Paul Michaels. We are on Twitter at Dave Snedeker. And we are on Rumble, The Indoctrination. Many names, many places, because we get kicked out of most places we're in. So my friends, let's you're coming in out of the cold. You got a big heavy coat on that protects you from the elements out in the world. It's our ego. It's our protection. It's our preconceived notions and unconscious bias that is important to have out in the elements to protect us from those things that come at us. But you're coming into the Sned Shed. It's nice and warm. It's nice and cozy. And all you need to do is take off that coat, check it at the coat check, grab a claim ticket, grab your favorite snack, your favorite drink, your favorite person, your favorite your favorite pet. My favorite pet right now is my little unicorn here, my unicorn mug, my daughter's unicorn mug. And cheers, one and all. Let's have a great night together. And excuse me, I will jump into what we're going to be talking about tonight. Um, First off, I want to say that I don't think I have those here, but let me see if I have them. But I want to talk to you about the food shortages that are going to be coming. Certainly, the inflation has increased our cost of food, right? And with that in mind, we don't want that to get any worse, and yet it is getting worse, right? So, um, let me see what we have here. Um, okay, there we go. Okay, just so I know what we've got. Okay, I just saw something I didn't see before. Um, we are we're gonna. So here's what's happening around the world. Meat plants, food plants are absolutely burning down. Okay, this is major. This is unprecedented, and we must be aware of what's happening. Now, I want to just take you down a quick path here, and that is when you look at the lengths that the establishment has gone to euthanizing human beings by with the all the things that they've done to us, you come to understand that they will go to any lengths necessary to call a population. And we've seen famines in Russia. We've seen famines in China. We've seen famines in Africa. We've seen famines in Cambodia. We've seen famines in Venezuela. All there on purpose. All there on purpose. Okay. Patricia Lynn, thank you for sharing this along with 40 others and so many others. Thank you for sharing this out on Facebook. Please share this out across all platforms so that we can get this fabulous word out. And so, we are looking, okay, at an upcoming food shortage, not just from inflation, but food shortage, right? And that is happening just like it happened in the past. All of those ones that I just mentioned are absolutely, without question, were manufactured to kill people because bullets, bombs, missiles, drones are very expensive, and they're all, with the exception of the drones, they are all expendable, and you use them, and you need to replace them, and that all fuels the industrial complex, military complex, and that is what they do. But they also understand that if they're going to kill people with missiles and bombs, that's also going to destroy a lot of infrastructure that they don't want to destroy. And so they have turned to a different kind of genocide. One, which is the biological warfare, which we saw deployed in Wuhan, and we also saw and reported on March 1st the 11 bioweapons labs in Ukraine that Putin was aware of and that nobody's talking about. Nobody of mainstream bent, anyway, with the exception of Fox. And so what we're seeing there is that their goal, their idea is if we can kill the people, we can save the buildings. We can. We're not going to damage the roads. We're not going to damage the streets and the sidewalks and the cafes. We're going to kill the people, and then we'll have all that infrastructure to enjoy. These are the people who control the planet. What else they've done is now they were only able to kill so many with the virus and the jab. It's still not that efficient. Why? Because if you look at the Georgia Guidestones, and they say we have to get the population to 500 million, and then you look at what still exists on this planet, as a World Economic Forum, you have to understand that you have to call the population much more efficiently than that. The number one way to do that is to control the food supply. Okay, that's what's going on. And if they'll go to the extremes that they did with the media, with the hospitals, with the doctors, with the nurses, with the airlines, with the public transportation, with private businesses, through threats and coercion, if they've gone to all of those lengths to steal an election, to do what they did, it's not helpful if we stay mired in the old pandemic, right? Unless we're aware that they can pull it back up to get more and more control over us, right? Because just like the war on terror that they created on 9/11, that's a war that never ends. That was the genius of the war on terror, because in 1984, they kept flip-flopping who the bad guys were, like ISIS, by the way. ISIS bad, ISIS good. ISIS bad, ISIS good. And that's what they did in 1984. But eventually, you lose the opponent you're fighting, or somebody wins, and then there's no more war. Well, that doesn't work anymore. It does for the big corporations to have somebody that pays off their car and owns it for another 5-10 years, okay, without paying any monthly payments, which is why car manufacturers went to leases and went to financing. And as soon as you pay off your car, it starts having problems, so you got to get a new one, or constantly upgrading you. Well, this is the plan for this basically this mass culling of the population. They want to get us controlled throughout the process, right? So that they can, whatever next comes down the pike in terms of how they are going to kill us, they've already got control over us to tell us what to do so that they can finish the job. Look what they've done with the farmers. UK is paying farmers. The United States is still paying farmers to not farm. Look what they've done with the gasoline prices to make it so much more expensive to get the food. Look what they've happened with the supply chains to make it difficult to get the food. Look what they've done with all these meat packing plants and all these food packing plants. They're setting them on fire, my friends. Think about it. There are multiple fires across the planet of food producers, food manufacturers, food packing plants. This doesn't change the price. It doesn't change the availability tomorrow. Maybe not next week, but it will in the weeks following. So one of the reasons, while I was so ready to jump on this pandemic, and from day one I was telling you, this is a pandemic. It's not real, and this is what they're doing, and this is manufactured, the whole bit, was because I took the lessons from previous attempts to control us, and I brought it into the present tense. That brought it into the present situation, and then looked out into the future as to what was next. So one of the things we want to keep in mind is that they want to continue, and when I say they, it's the It's the cabal. It's the KM, the mafia, the people that control humanity and have been for generations. Okay. So we want to be able to look into the future as to what their next step might be, right? And certainly we'll continue to follow Q. We'll continue to follow the dives into the map, right? But it's important to understand basically how they act so that we can anticipate their next move. Okay. So that's where we're at. So my friends, we are almost 1,300 people in the room tonight. Welcome one and all. Let's get into the show notes, my friends. The indoctrination. A David Snedeker Truthcast. Tomorrow's headlines tonight, and where the news unlocks the map. Special thanks to Barbara, Christy, who's not feeling well tonight, and Jen for the show notes. Show contributors Brenda K, Jen D, Rainbow Eagle NC, and Jim R. Trump, Breitbart News, Matthew Boyle on Piers Morgan's fake news. I haven't seen an interview as misleading and deceptively edited as this one. Nigel Farage on Thursday blasted Morgan and his team for what Mr. Brexit described as fake news over the interview with former President Trump, which Breitbart, Matthew Boyle described as incredibly misleading and deceptively edited. We mentioned that last night. I just wanted to follow up with this. This is mainstream media trying to take out President Trump still. But why President Trump is doing this? Why would he grant an interview to Piers Morgan? Piers Morgan is obviously fake news. Piers Morgan is obviously part of the cabal misinformation, disinformation, propaganda campaign. And he's a puppet on a string, and he doesn't have a thought of his own at all, and will probably, I hope, be one of the people that is sent to prison over the gaslighting of humanity, over the deception of humanity that was being deployed by this mainstream narrative. So Piers goes over by 40 minutes. Trump team says, all right, time to wrap it up. Last question. Piers Morgan just kind of keeps going, right? He keeps asking more and more questions. Some of them are interesting. Some of them are decent questions. Not all the questions are unfair. Trump has, as you know, some back and forth with it. He disagrees with Morgan on some things. He agrees with him on some other. Boyle explained nothing that Trump even appeared to like some of the questions, noting that Trump even appeared to like some of the questions. But the idea that Trump ripped off his microphone, stood up, and stormed out. Let's see what we got here.
We saw the headlines out there just like everybody else. We saw the 30-second clip that Piers Morgan released. And when I saw that, I called Trump's team, and I'm like, hey, guys, what happened here? What's the real truth about this? They're like, hang on, trust us, this is not the way that it happened. And so then a short time later, they provided the audio of the actual end of the interview. The clip, which anybody can go listen to, we published the whole thing on Breitbart.com, is 7.5 minutes long. 7.5 minutes long of an audio clip of this thing. Now, this is more than an hour into the interview that Trump has already sat for with Piers Morgan. So Trump had agreed to do a 20-minute interview with Piers Morgan. More than an hour into the interview, so Piers Morgan goes over by 40 minutes. Trump's team says, all right, time to wrap it up. Last question. Piers Morgan just kind of keeps going, right? Like, he keeps asking more and more questions. Some of them are interesting. Some of them are decent questions. Not all the questions are unfair. Trump has, some back and forth with it. He disagrees with Morgan on some things. He agrees with him on other things. He kind of liked some of the questions. You can hear a big part of the interview there. But the idea that Trump ripped off his microphone, stood up, and stormed out of the interview, that's just blatantly untrue. And again, I've never, in the 11, 12 years that I've been doing this, I haven't seen an interview this badly mischaracterized and misleadingly and deceptively edited as bad as this one is. It's so blatantly untrue, that 30-second clip that Piers Morgan released. This
Matt, I mean, it is the most disgraceful kind of journalism. But just a final thought on this, and thanks for coming on. Generally, I've noticed that journalists tend to defend other journalists, even from rival publications with different political opinions. Is there some backlash to this coming in US media today?
Yeah, there already is. NBC News, CNN have all come out and criticized the way that Piers Morgan did this. CNN, which is his former employer, did a story about how he handed Donald Trump a win. And so, the big thing I would hope, because, I work for Breitbart, I'm a huge supporter of President Trump. Yeah. I would hope that President Trump doesn't, look, Piers, Nigel, Nigel, you were 100% correct with that dossier that you gave to President Trump about Piers Morgan. He was just wrong to sit down with Piers Morgan. I hope that President Trump learns from this and doesn't keep doing interviews with establishment.
Yeah, well, I did try, Matt. I did try to warn him. One final quick last thought. Fox News cannot be happy about this.
I would imagine that they're upset. I haven't heard from anybody there. Their spokesperson just said that they don't have anything to add other than what Piers Morgan had already said in the pre-released clip and a column that he wrote for the New York Post. And their coverage of this has kind of been all over the place. So we'll see how that plays out over the coming days.
We sure will. Matt Boyle, Breitbart News, thank you very much indeed for joining me this evening here on GB News.
So this is, this is a win for Trump, as he mentioned there, and that's probably why Trump did it. And maybe Piers has already done maybe Piers has already made a deal, because he should be one of the journalists who gets arrested, in my opinion. Certainly gets tried for his deceptive nature regarding, in this gaslighting of all the really, really bad people on the planet that are a part of this mass genocide and mass culling of the population. So I think Piers Morgan would absolutely be in front of a judge and a jury of his peers in the near future. Maybe he already cut a deal. Now think about this. Trump does this interview. First of all, this gentleman is saying the same thing I'm saying, is why is he giving interviews to establishment media? Well, they keep proving his point, don't they? And what they did with Trump in trying to make him out to be just, he left in a huff. He can't handle questions. He sat with him for an hour and 40 minutes, and Biden can't even take a few questions. And so this is a win for President Trump. This is a win for those of us who want the media, mainstream as we know it, to go away and never come back. And so how fabulous is it that Trump just allowed Piers Morgan to hang himself? He gave him just enough rope to hang himself, figuratively, of course. And that's what happened. And so that's a win. But how many of you got upset because you saw it and you saw how they did it, right? Let's celebrate these moments, right? Let's flip these. It's called a reframe, right? It's a neurolinguistic programming term. And let's say, for example, this beautiful piece that, by the way, please send me an email, davesnet@gmail.com, to let me know who did this. But how cool is that? me and Papa Sned on his last show together. That was his favorite chair, by the way, and that's his lovely wife Wanda's chair beside him. But she always lets me sit there when I come visit. And but let's say I wanted to frame this, and I put it in a frame, and I didn't like that frame, so I reframed it. So I take the exact same thing and I reframed it, right? So in neurolinguistic programming, there's a technique called a reframe. And you take the same event or the same moment that has happened, right? And you take those and you just reframe them, okay? So what we're going to do as we enter more into the light and less darkness is we're going to take this moron, Piers Morgan, and we're going to look at that situation, and you can frame it with anger, or you can frame it with, wow, he just exposed himself. He just exposed himself. Thank you, Kola. Good to see you. He just exposed himself in a very, very powerful way of not just discrediting Piers Morgan, not just discrediting the channel Piers Morgan is on, not just discrediting channels that had previously hired Piers Morgan, okay, but also discrediting mainstream fake news media, Mockingbird media, all at the same time. What a gift. What a fabulous, fabulous gift that we've been given to be able to look at things this way, right? This is new just today. Russia has established sanctions. Hold on, that's not the one I was looking for. Let me see. So wrong link. This is satellite images show mass grave near Mariupol. The besieged southeastern Ukrainian city of Mariupol, released on Thursday, were said to show scores of freshly dug graves. The images from Maxar Technologies purport to show the gradual creation of a mass gravesite next to an existing graveyard on the edge of Manhush, a town located around 20 kilometers. The company said the images taken between March 19th and April 3rd show around 200 new graves covering an area of around 85 square meters. And the mayor says lives are trapped, residents are in Putin's hands. Now, what's important to understand about this is that since 2014, mainstream media has not shown the mass graves of the Donbass region where Ukraine was bombing its own citizens, right? So, keep that in mind. Like, I took a picture today of the Los Angeles Times, or yesterday, and the Los Angeles Times was showing, all about Russia, how Putin is, destroying lives in the Ukraine. Nothing about what happened between 2014 and now with the Ukrainians and how they're killing their own people, right? So Russia sanctions Mark Zuckerberg, Kamala Harris, and 27 more U.S. citizens. That was the link I was looking for, but I went to the wrong article. Jen, if you have a chance to maybe put the new link and let me know, please. And I got to play this for you. This is an audio recording, AstraZeneca source. Actually, I think it's video too. CEO Pascal Soriot saying millions of immunocompromised people can't be vaccinated. Check this out.
You have to know a number of people cannot be vaccinated.
On a company-wide Zoom call on December 3rd, 2020, AstraZeneca CEO Pascal Soriot stated millions of people with immune deficiencies can't be vaccinated. Even back then, he saw enormous potential in monoclonal antibody treatments.
Like if you have an immune disease, lupus, or some other immune condition, you cannot or multiple sclerosis, you cannot be vaccinated. So there are millions of people in the world that will need a protection that cannot be coming from a vaccine. So the long-acting antibody has enormous potential. This long-acting antibody is quite unique because this is the only combination that potentially will last more than 6 months, up to potentially 12 months, and protect people for a long period of time.
Monoclonal antibody treatments were known to be effective relatively early in the COVID-19 pandemic, and some states in the U.S. moved quickly to use it as a frontline defense. However, the federal government actively pushed against the use of those treatments in favor of the vaccine.
The Biden administration, which outright revoked authorization for two very popular monoclonal antibody treatments that the state of Florida really pioneered over the summer. We have had people use it, and we've had good results. People have a right to access these treatments, and to revoke it on this basis is just fundamentally wrong.
If the CEO of one of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies realized back in 2020 that antibody treatments are necessary for the immunocompromised, why would governments around the world force vaccine mandates when millions of people are at risk if they got it?
We are looking at a winter of severe illness and death for unvaccinated, for themselves, their families, and the hospitals they'll soon overwhelm. But there's good news. If you're vaccinated, you have your booster shot, you're protected from severe illness and death.
Right. But getting that shot really was an amazing feeling. It hits you.
Sorry, my friends. Forgot to mute. That guy, Trudeau, is a piece of work, and a pedophile, and he was, caught sleeping with one of his students for a month. Had to leave his position quite quickly. This was just brought to my attention. I had heard about it in the past, but one of you Snedheads had brought it to my attention, and grateful for that. And also that he has, sorry, I'm all over the place with this. Let me come back to here. And so, but he's a piece of work, Trudeau, okay? And by the way, if you look at the Trudeau Foundation annual report, let me show you that here. Here we go. This is the annual report 2015-2016 of the Trudeau Foundation. Okay, the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation, his father, right? And this was page 1. Learn, share, change. All right. We all know what that is, don't we? That's a flat-out pedophile symbol. Okay. So that's Trudeau for you, all right? And that's his foundation. Tragic that people like this are still in power, but it won't be for long. But it's an amazing feeling. You know what else is an amazing feeling, Justin, is realizing what a piece of shit you really are. That's an amazing feeling because it's only a matter of time before you're gone for good, forever. See, here's the thing. You guys have been in control of the sandbox, and you've been shitting all over the place. You've been burying us all in the sandbox. You've been digging graves. You've been kicking people out. You've been censoring them. And now we're getting control over the sandbox. And you're not going to be able to play in the sandbox anymore. And we're going to make sure that we keep you in a place that you'll never, ever be able to return. That's a fact. Okay? And so that's coming. Your comeuppance is coming. Your comeuppance is coming. You will pay the piper here very, very soon. And if we get our voice back on a large scale, okay, hold on one second. All right. Let me do this. Okay. So going to Elon Musk has secured $46.5 billion funding to buy Twitter, and he says he's ready for a tender offer. That was today, okay? And so he's not done. And I'll tell you something. One thing about Musk, and I've showed you how I'm critical of him. He wants to, to plug us into a computer with a Neuralink. He's got the satellites up there. He's basically knows where your car is going all the time. I can't say that I trust the man, okay? I can't say I trust any man at a level that I ever will turn over that trust again in the future like we have in the past, because once you awaken, you realize how easily man can be corrupted. So beware of this man, okay? Beware of any man that has this much power. But I'm hoping that he would be a better owner than Twitter and not censor as much. Now, we've talked about how Twitter is controlled by the white hats. So I think this is a white hat move to show how they're going to expose what has been happening at Twitter and with Jack, right? So, well, let's see what happens. But this isn't really a guy who takes no for an answer. So, here we go. Let's see how far this thing crumbles here. The Wuhan lab, this is very disturbing because the Wuhan lab is allowed to destroy secret files under its partnership with U.S. National Lab, this agreement shows. And they have a collaboration, okay, with the Texas medical branch of UT that makes it obligatory for each of the two labs to delete secret materials if the other one requests it. Very, very interesting. Why would you? Let's just talk about the documents for a second. Why on earth would you ever want to delete documents unless they were illegal or unless they were meant to harm others? Why else would you ever delete documents? Okay. And also keeping documents confidential, right? The party is entitled to ask the other to destroy and or return the secret files, materials, and equipment without any backups. States the MOU, which is Memorandum of Understanding, obtained by the U.S. Right to Know, a nonprofit investigative research group focused on public health through a Freedom of Information request. So this was signed in 2017 and stays in effect through this October, okay, of these two organizations. But the confidentiality terms would remain binding even after the agreement's 5-year duration expires, the agreement states. The document goes on to broadly define what materials are to be treated as confidential, opening the door to potentially all documents and data from any collaboration being subject to deletion request. All cooperation and exchange documents, details, and materials shall be treated as confidential info by the parties. Okay, and so it's the Galveston National Laboratory formally declaring their partnership the following year to streamline future scientific and operational collaborations on dangerous pathogens. So this is the clause is quite frankly explosive. Reuben Gutman, a partner at Gutman, Bushner, and Brooks, who focuses on ensuring the integrity of government programs, told Right to Know, anytime I see a public entity, I would be very concerned about destroying records. You can't just willy-nilly say, well, you know, the Chinese can tell us when to destroy a document. It doesn't work like that, he added. There has to be a whole protocol. Chris Smith, a spokesperson for the University of Texas, told Right to Know that the lab was built by the National Institutes of Health to help combat global health threats. NIH, enter Anthony Fauci. Okay. As a government-funded entity, UTMB is required to comply with applicable public information law obligations, including the preservation of all documentation of its research and findings. The Epoch Times has contacted the Galveston lab. Okay. They're one of two federally funded university-based highest-level biosecurity labs in the U.S. and began collaborating with the Wuhan Virology in 2013. So here's the thing about this, is that Galveston was also among the first in the world to receive samples of SARS-CoV-2 and from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, nearly 3 weeks after Leduc urged the Chinese counterparts to share the material. The revelations contained in their Memorandum of Understanding appear to contradict claims from Wuhan scientists that they would never scrub critical research information. Chinese virologist who heads the Center for Emerging Infectious Diseases had characterized allegations that her lab would delete such data as baseless and appalling. Meanwhile, they have an actual Memorandum of Understanding saying that we are to both must delete documents if requested. Okay. Even if we gave them all the records, they would still say we have hidden something or we have destroyed the evidence, she said in a February interview with MIT. So, in September 2019, months before several of its researchers allegedly fell ill with COVID-like symptoms, the facility took its main database of virus samples offline. Now, we know for a fact that the hospitals in Wuhan were much more crowded in September of 2019. We also know that searches online about COVID-type symptoms appeared as early as late August and September of 2019. So they were already finding out more and more about this because they had already released it. Okay. And so this is contradicting what this woman said that they would do with documentation, so much so that it's in an actual document. Okay. So again, this is more evidence, okay, to what is going on. This is the writer for Epoch Times that covered this. So this is very interesting how this is all unraveling and how we will all be vindicated and people will regret having
My name is John Cefalu, and I'm the CEO of the Buildsters.
With Big Pharma, NIH, CDC ever again. Let me ask you something. And I'll look for your answers, by the way. What do you think about childhood vaccines? And I'm gonna open up this chat here. How do you feel about childhood vaccines after experiencing what we experienced with COVID-19? What do you think about them? Would you give them to your sons or daughters or grandchildren. Okay. And if not, which I think a lot of you would not, right? Wouldn't you say that most people will consider them poison? Shift, yep. No way, no, hell no. Should never have gave them. And in regret having done so, right? Yeah, look at all these fabulous. No. Opposed. I say no. Child abuse, not ever. Total distraction. Never had any 63. Great. No, none ever. I would never. Look at this, right? You're not alone. How many people had to experience this for themselves to finally say no to any childhood jab? Okay. Why? Well, because if they're the same companies, they're the same CDC. They're the same. The CDC sets the jab schedule for childhood vaccines. They're the same thing. So why would we ever go back to it? Why? How important is this going forward for us to know this information? And look at how many we had to lose in order for us to wake the hell up and say no more. No way. All liars, all felons, these corporations, look at all this. No way. Knowing what we know now, Jesse, never again. My son has epilepsy. I'm sorry, Patricia. Yeah. Linda, 2 autistic nephews. Tragic. Linda, we need to dial in that product that I was going to launch, or I sort of launched it right before I took off, but I'll bring it back online. And so please be on the lookout for that next week. I'll bring it and we'll put it on the website, okay? But that's great stuff for autism. Yeah, my friend, look at all you. Yep. This is all good. You can always pause this and read these. Yeah. Yep. Non-vaxxed kids are the healthiest. Thank you, Sparky. Appreciate you. Awesome. Look at all this. Great stuff. Yep. Thank you, Patty. Yeah, feeling better today. I'm going to still keep it short, my friends, so bear with me on that because, yeah. So, Elaine, yeah, I love the idea, by the way. I did read your email quickly today, so I do want to connect with you on that. Thank you. So, my friends, yeah, it's a rude awakening for sure, right? And Becky, yeah. I know you wish you never did, but thank God every day for waking us up, right? Yeah, they're still getting the jab. Yeah, thank you, Lucy. I got to be careful. You're right on YouTube. But we're talking about, I'm just asking a question, right? About what you would do. And it's not about, I'm not providing any medical information or medical recommendations, but look at how many of you have now chosen to distrust the mainstream media, the mainstream pharmaceutical companies, the huge multinational pharmaceutical companies, the CDC, the NIH. We're all done. We're done with them all. and my dad is a casualty of this war. Certainly a casualty of old age, but congenital heart failure is one of the symptoms. And he already had it, but I believe that they quicken the pace of things, and or give it to you when you didn't have it, right? So let me play this for you. This is always a great thing here. Here we go.
He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah, that is your job.
I agree. It's our job to control what the people think, not Elon Musk's, and certainly not the people's. Good evening. Here's what we want you to think tonight. World War III has begun and is being fought between Elon Musk and Twitter's board. What's the latest and who will win? As the Thought Police, we'll have the full report for you tonight as we present to you lies you can trust. Over the past week, Twitter has become a platform exclusively dedicated to talking about Elon Musk buying Twitter, specifically in short-form thoughts that don't matter or make any difference to anyone else. This is kind of like having a sex robot that only itself. Yet the Twitter board, seemingly intent on everyone, doesn't like it. How so? Well, in a power move last week, as Elon is apparently attempting to save democracy by preserving free speech, he offered to buy 100% of Twitter at 20% above market value for $43 billion in cash. Not a bad offer for a worthless company. But Twitter's board, who apparently does not have a fiduciary responsibility to Twitter shareholders, but does have a responsibility to serving an agenda to destroy democracy, blocked him from doing so. In a very rare move called a poison pill, Twitter's board offered existing shareholders to purchase additional shares, not including Elon, at a discount. The intention of this plan is to dilute Elon's existing shares and to make acquiring the worthless company cost prohibitive. Former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, who was pushed out of the company to make room for a global agenda, said of Twitter's board, "It's consistently been the dysfunction of the company." Referencing a screenshot of Twitter's board members and each one's percentage shares of the company, Elon said, "Wow, with Jack departing, the Twitter board collectively owns almost no shares. Objectively, their economic interests are simply not aligned with shareholders." If the Twitter board's actions aren't aligned with the interests of the shareholders, what's driving their actions? Is it corruption? No! The always logical radical left, specializing in doublespeak, informs us that Elon is trying to destroy democracy by preserving free speech, and Twitter's board is protecting us from that. Makes sense if you don't think about it, so instead of thinking about it, let me tell you what to think. We need to prevent rich people from controlling our channels of communication, says the Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos, who bought it for $250 million. Well, let's hear more about what you should think. In a very non-hypocritical, no agenda to keep the common people from having power, Business Insider says, billionaire Jeff Bezos' Washington Post buy marks a fascinating cultural transition in America. They go on to say years later of Elon Musk. Elon Musk's attempt to buy Twitter represents a chilling new threat. Billionaire trolls taking over social media. Again, we warn you, please do not attempt to think too much about this, or else you'll be at significant risk of no longer believing our narrative. This just in! Big tech social media is full of toxic censorship, and my days are probably numbered. So please follow me on Rumble and Getter. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. But what do both sides of the war being fought over free speech on the battleground of Twitter have to say about all this? Well, a man who uses Twitter named Drew Hernandez says, remember, Elon Musk wants to make Twitter a fair, free speech platform. This is what Twitter is fighting against. Well, two sides to every story, Drew, because a man being used by Twitter named Max Boot says, I am frightened by the impact on society and politics if Elon Musk acquires Twitter. He seems to believe that on social media, anything goes. For democracy to survive, we need more content moderation, not less. Of course we do, Max. We need more censorship and less free speech for democracy to survive. That deserves a Nobel Prize in doublespeak. And wow, I see a Ukraine flag in his profile. Shocker. Just think about all the people in Ukraine whose lives are better because he went to the trouble of putting a flag in his Twitter bio. With his stellar philosophy of saving democracy by destroying free speech, perhaps next we'll see Max saving the people of Ukraine by bombing them. But in closing, will Elon Musk end up saving your right to free speech by acquiring Twitter? Well, spoiler alert! It doesn't matter if he does or not, because the only thing that can and will preserve your right to free speech is you having the awareness to know what you think and you having the courage to speak what's on your mind. Don't be fooled. The power lies within you, not Elon. Good night. Hey, spoiler alert, freedom.
That's J.P. Sears, my friends. Please check him out, awakenwithjp.com. He does some fantastic work. So grateful for his humor. And we are closing in on the reality of the indoctrination permeating society in such a way that it's hard to awaken our parents. It's hard to awaken. Oh, yes. Tiffany, this is a great point, by the way. Elon said blank is the night, and it's tender as the night. And so she looked up tender trading. And basically, it's a tender offer. And even if the board says no to his offer, he can go straight to the shareholders. And that's what he just did by raising this $43 billion, that he can go straight to the shareholders and bypass the board. Again, what he could win in a lawsuit and what the shareholders can win in a lawsuit over the board could bankrupt the board members because they cannot legally, they have a fiduciary responsibility to the stockholders. Yeah. But yeah, nice catch, Tiffany. You're welcome. So let's see. This is... I just wanted to mention that there's a state of emergency in Arizona. That fire has now taken 19,000 acres. So for those who are, being affected by that, our hearts go out to you, and prayers are up for getting that fire under control. CDC has issued a nationwide warning about mysterious hepatitis cases in children. This is one of the many things that we're dealing with now as we look at, I'm sorry, I went to the wrong. Did it again. Sorry, my friends. I muted that one. Haven't done that in a while. Thank you for calling. Got you. I think that might be Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. Sorry about that, guys. Yes, I've done it again. The CDC. So let me just tell you what you missed. We've already decided that we don't trust the CDC, right? For good reason. And now they're bringing out that there's this adenovirus and hepatitis infections in a cluster of children in Alabama. This is one of the many things that is coming out now with one common denominator, and that is the jab. And so we're going to see more and more things popping out. Also in North Carolina, and they're looking for a link, and only doctors without their heads completely out their ass will find the link, being the jab. So keep an eye out for that, and also, why are these people, athletes dropping dead on the pitch as well, right? We covered this yesterday briefly. The Florida House is revoking Disney's self-governance and taxation. They're going to own something like $200 million in taxation now to the state of Florida, which will be fantastic. And these are the large food distribution and processing plants in the U.S. that have recently exploded or burned down. This is going to be huge. This is just one of them. This is going to be a major problem. But why are they happening? That's what we need to look at. Who's behind it? This is about more of the population. Let's think about this is one in Oregon. Okay. This could be a major shutdown to much production here on the West Coast, right? Here's where they all are. Let me pull this one up for you. This was one of the graphs I had on my other computer. Bonanza Meat Company, El Paso. Meat processing, Lackawanna County. Major fire at Cobb County in Georgia. Salinas Food Processing Plant, evacuations. Cattle rescued after fire destroys meat market. Tyson Poultry Meat Plant, Huntsville, Alabama. Hot Pockets plant in Jonesboro. River Meats has portion of Mauston plant at total loss after fire. Deli Star Meat Plant in St. Clair. Explosion causes fire at Oregon potato chip plant. Fire causes over $100,000 in damages at San Antonio. Fire ravages potato processing plant in Maine. Hamilton Mountain Processing. Memphis Fire Department, third alarm fire at Kellogg's. Explosion and fire reported at Cargill Nutrina feed mill. Cargill is huge in the food industry, my friends. So they are one of the largest private companies in the world, and they are. This is a big deal, right? So thank you for adding that, Jen or Barbara. Or maybe Christy, I don't know, but I know you're not feeling well. Feel better, my dear. So, my friends, that is, we have got to just keep in mind of what's going down here, okay? Saving Israel for last, and yet this is, the Israel goes to the food plant project, by the way, the Israel link. Here it is. Got it now. No. So, let me see. Israel fighter jets attack Gaza for the second time in a week. Hamas says Israel's bombing will only make Palestinians more determined to resist the occupation and step up their support for Jerusalem and its people. And, second time this week. Carried out, dropping bombs, my friends, on these people, and And we're going to save Israel for last, Q says. Wonder why. Wonder why. Because there's a lot going on. Canceling the alphabet. Lithuania bans the display of letters Z and V over the Russian links because of what Z means in Russian is Putin, and V Vladimir, right? And the letters have been identified as tactical recognition symbols pertaining to geographical army groups in Russia's military. Z in particular has become a symbol associated with many of Russian aggression. Lithuania managed to successfully prohibit the symbolic use of both letters with a vote on Tuesday. Think about that. They're canceling letters. Okay? I can see the Sesame Street censoring, going back and taking out all shows that this episode brought to you by the letter Z. Well, they're going to get rid of that one. WHO recommends that people still wear face masks in public, even if not mandated. Yeah, right. Fauci said that he believes that the CDC should override the courts, the federal court. Obviously not good. And they're trying to reverse the court order, the court decision of not having to wear masks in public transportation and in air. Excuse me. I want to play this for you. Hold on. The Freedom of Information Act was created to promote transparency, and it's hiding. It's actually doing the exact opposite. The NIH under Fauci have dictated our nation's COVID-19 response for the last 2 years. They've done so without accountability, responsibility, or oversight, where still Fauci and the NIH have lied repeatedly to the American people. When American citizens who were determined to get to the truth made requests under the Freedom of Information Act, they were stonewalled and stifled. Fauci and NIH did not want you, the American people, to see their lies exposed. But it's not just Fauci and the NIH. The Trump-Russia collusion affair, characterized by stonewalling, redactions, and unprecedented delays, as have any requests into the CDC's data and their claims on the jab. This also applies to any State Department emails on Hunter Biden's Ukraine dealings. Our entire FOIA system has been corrupted, the system that was originally designed to bring transparency to the federal government has been turned on its head to serve as a mechanism to cover up federal government wrongdoing. And by the way, all one has to do is see the extradition decision. Assange has an opportunity to challenge that, which he will do, and his lawyers. But, here's information that was brought to light, and they're persecuting the messenger rather than the person who was actually committing the war crimes, right? And look at all the war crimes that have been harmed, all the war crimes that have harmed humanity, that have not yet been brought to justice. And we're still waiting to bring them to justice, right? Louisiana House passed a bill to ban state and local government mandates. Sorry, I keep going to this one. And not going to happen anymore. There you go. 64-31 approved House Bill 990, Representative Thomas Presley, Shreveport, prohibiting state and local governments from requiring proof of jab as a condition of entry to public spaces and businesses. The bill does three things. First, it prohibits public mandates of vaccines for COVID-19 for entry onto public or private property and to receive goods or services. Big. It also has in provisions, B, deals with federal law and avoids preemptive issues. And then it also allows businesses to make decisions on whether or not to implement their own policies for their businesses, he said. So this is big news, and it is one of many. This is the dominoes are falling, my friends. And meanwhile, California is going the opposite direction, reinstating Los Angeles reinstating mask mandate for public transit, LAX, and rideshare despite order from federal judge. So they're defying a federal judge, right? That's why I got to get the hell out of here. And the mandate will take effect Friday. Public transit within Los Angeles County, buses, trains, taxis, and ride-hailing service vehicles under new health order that will take effect Friday. The order will also again require masks at all indoor public transportation hubs, including airports and bus terminals. Yeah, and they're basing it on the U.S. Centers for Disease Control. Yeah, it's unbelievable. And the DOJ, of course, is appealing the decision, Biden's DOJ. So we're it's bringing everything to light, my friends. The Michigan Secretary of State Benson gave ballot harvesters ability to steal the election. Here's how she did it. Let me see here.
So this woman is delivering a stack of ballots, and the person behind her rolls down the window and hands her a ballot to put in the ballot box with her stack. And then she goes back to her car with the stack of ballots again. And I think at that point she realized that the ballots were not signed. And so you're going to watch her sign each ballot in the vehicle. And she signs them and then puts them on the dashboard individually. First she searches for a pen, so it takes a second. But we've got this speeded up so you can see. But yeah. So she's signing, and when it's slowed down, you can see the pen in her hand when she reaches up and puts the ballot on the dashboard each time.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so
that's it.
You guys are
good fun. Good fun. That's
fantastic. They did a great job.
Fun.
They did a great job finding this, and as you can see, there it is right there, and they did a close up with the camera. The footage is very clear. There she goes, right to the drop box. So, mission accomplished.
Unbelievable.
You know, at the very least, this woman got a lot more votes than the rest of us. Certainly, and that's exactly how they did this. The one thing that comes to mind that I don't think we've really talked about is that what's going on here. Because they're not focusing on one day of voting, okay? Think about this. If you have one day of voting, okay, and let's say each district, you have a certain amount of maybe drop boxes if they're using those. Most you can't even do it, right? And then you have the one day of voting, and then you have a focused counting. For every day they add on to, you can vote early, you can vote, by mail, you can do this, you can do that. It makes the ability to cheat increases exponentially, not mathematically. Because for every day you add on, now you've got, let's call it 10 locations that need to be monitored for a whole other day. Or another day, and another day, and another day. And you can't monitor that. So it's very rare that you actually get to see these types of things because they can spread it out. The same woman, they showed another one where a woman came, I think 4 times. The 4th time she came in a different vehicle. But they saw the same vehicle pulling up, a lot of ballots. And so it's easier to cheat the system. And that's why this CV-19 was so important and so absolutely vital, okay, to us getting back on for them to cheat this election. It was absolutely vital for them to get rid of Trump and use this to do it. Okay, Biden's sending another $800 million to the Ukraine. This is huge. And by the way, Zelensky has said that they need what was it, $1 billion a day to handle his economy and to keep fighting the Russians. This is, excuse me. This is extortion. You see, they know everything about the big guy here, okay? Biden team adds translator. This is great. Look at that. That's fantastic. I'm forgetting his name right now. My gosh. But yeah. Let's check this out real quick.
The U.S. maintain the level and pace of this military support for Ukraine?
Well, we have the capacity to do this for a long time. The question is, are we going to continue to maintain the support of the international community and keep the pressure on Putin to prevent him from overrunning the country, number one, and number two, make sure we continue to maintain the economic sanctions, which over time, and we're beginning to see it, are devastating their economy and their ability to move forward. So the most important thing right now is maintain the unity. So far, so good. Thank you very much.
How long can the U.S. maintain the level and pace of this military?
Is this extortion? Because Zelensky could, and I mean, not Zelensky, but his puppet master, I'm forgetting his name. What's Zelensky's billionaire, Moyoshka, what's his name? The billionaire that owned the television channel that he had his hit TV show on, funded his campaign, let him use his cars and his security. Moishka or something like that. If you guys would pull that up, please. Kolomoisky, remote viewer. Kolomoisky, thank you, brother. Kolomoisky, yes. That's a mouthful, right? Mitch McConnell cheered Democrats for launching Trump's impeachment trial. Take care of the son of the bitch for us. Following, he lauded the Democrats for launching his impeachment trial after January 6th, and following the incident, McConnell was grateful for taking action against his longtime political opponent after it became certain that House Democrats would use J6 as a potential political cudgel against conservatives. McConnell agreed that Trump should be impeached. The Democrats are going to take care of the son of a bitch for us, McConnell purportedly said. If this isn't impeachable, I don't know what is. Really? Okay. Yeah, so McConnell's got to go, my friends. This has been a long time coming, and this is not. This is kind of coming out now, but we knew that he had to go a long time ago. But Mitch McConnell has got to go. Jim Clyburn funneling campaign cash to family members. U.S. Majority Whip Jim Clyburn has been busted doling out hundreds of thousands of dollars in campaign funds to members of his family. There he is with Kamala. The latest example of influential politicians taking care of their own as they screw over American taxpayers. He's paid 5 family members, including 2 of his daughters, their husbands, and 1 of his grandchildren more than $200,000 from his campaign account. Cameron Cawthorn and Joe Schatzfall of Fox News reported this. As of this writing, no South Carolina mainstream media outlets have picked up the story. Apparently, they're too busy covering other Clybourne-related news here and here. According to Clybourne and Schatzfall, Clyburn's daughter, Jennifer, was paid $45,000, $7,500 a month. Also paid out $62,000 in rent payments to a company which lists her husband Walter Reed as its registered agents. So this is all going on. These are the articles. Congressman Jim Clyburn continues legacy of late wife with new fundraiser at annual golf tournament. South Carolina News is covering that, and they're also covering $71 million for SC transit projects. So they're covering the positive, the gaslighting for this man, but they're not covering the fact that they've found this information to be valid, right? Speaking of Harris, her chief of staff is the next to be leaving. Tina Flournoy will depart from the administration in the latest of the staff turnovers. How many has it been? Is anybody even left anymore? As a matter of fact, I think she's even opening her own mail at this point. It's really pathetic. She's already lost Simone Sanders, chief spokesperson, deputy press secretary Sabrina Singh, director of digital strategies Rajun Kaur, director of advanced Carly Setkowiak, deputy director of advanced Gabrielle DeFranceschi, communications director Ashley Etienne, director of press operations Peter Vels, public engagement Vince Evans, speechwriting director Kate Childs Graham, and national security advisor Nance McAdowney. So just a little personal note on this, my friends, from experience. When I was on Capitol Hill in 1983 working for Roger Jepsen, he was running against Tom Harkin at the time. And it was one of the worst mudslinging campaigns ever. And I remember when Harkin came out with some of the information on Jepsen that was going to take him down, what I saw was Jepsen's aides that were not loyal to him, they were jumping ship. They were already lining up gigs with other organizations. And how do I know that? I experienced it. I saw it firsthand. It's a fickle bunch, the DC crew, my friends. They don't care who they're with. They will jump to another ship as quickly as they can as soon as they notice it taking on water. And that's exactly what happened. And they already knew that Jepsen had a job lined up with Ronald Reagan. So he was set too. He wasn't going to have a problem if he lost. So they saw him doing it as well. All right. This is very interesting. 2 Russian oligarchs found dead, their wives and daughters, one day apart. Authorities in Russia and Spain are investigating the deaths of 2 Russian oligarchs who died one day apart alongside their wives and children. Police departments in both countries where the bodies were found are speculating that the deaths were the product of a murder-suicide incident. In Spain, Russian oligarch Sergei Protencia, 55, was found dead just outside their Catalan villa. His wife Natalie, 53, and daughter 18 were found dead in their respective beds, God rest their soul, and covered in axe wounds. Oh my God. But Spanish authorities have not ruled out the possibility that Protosenya and his family were victims of an outside party who murdered them all and then staged the crime scene. They had not brought the couple's other child, who had remained in France while the alleged incident took place. Thank God. The villa on Spain's Costa Brava is believed to be the family's second home to their residence in France. Protesenia, who is thought to have amassed a worth of over 333 million, reportedly attacked his spouse and teenage daughter at the property after they traveled to the coast for Easter, Spanish outlet Telecinco reports. Telecinco described how local police, Mozos de Escuadra, turned up at the villa after Protesenia's teenage son, who had not joined the family on holiday but remained in France, alerted authorities on Tuesday. Yesterday, oligarch Vladislav Avayev, 51, his wife Yelena, 47, and his daughter, 18, were all found dead in their luxurious Moscow apartment. The three had suffered gunshot wounds. Russian police, like their Spanish counterparts, have suggested that these deaths might also be attributed to murder-suicide, but they are considering every other possibility that could have made Avayev a target. The bodies of Vladislav Avayev, 51, his pregnant wife, Yelena God, and their daughter, Maria, 13, were found dead with gunshot wounds on Monday, according to Russian state media outlets. Their eldest daughter, Anastasia, 26, reportedly made the grim discovery after she was unable to get in contact with her family. They say he shot his family before he turned the gun on himself, but Russian police say they will investigate any potential links to his work and personal life. These people were taken out, is my guess. Could this be part of Suicide Weekend? We expected it to be more American-based, but these are some major things. I mean, these are, multi-millionaires, okay? Western media outlets have attempted to claim that he murdered his wife after finding out she was pregnant with another man's child. While this is a possibility, her age would suggest that is rather unlikely. What is intriguing and warrants investigation, however, is how remarkably similar these incidents are. Both were found dead with their families, but are survived by their eldest child. That child alerted authorities after being unable to reach their parents. But perhaps the most salient similarity is the industry both men worked. Protesenia was a former chief accountant of Novatech and a former member of its board of directors. The company is the largest natural gas producer that isn't directly controlled by the Russian government. Avayev was a former vice president of Gazprom Bank, which, as the name might suggest, manages the pension fund for Gazprom, the largest state-owned energy corporation in the world and the largest natural gas company in the world. In other words, both of these men were intimately connected to the financing of Russia's energy industry. Gazprom owns almost 10% of Novatech's stock. So this is going to get interesting because obviously Russia is funding this war on Ukraine, the takeout of the Nazis, with gas and oil sales. They've actually increased their gas prices and oil prices to fund this war. Excuse me. And so these two Russian oligarchs are gone. Another top Pentagon official resigns, so we need to update our graphics, my friends. They are falling behind in the technology battles with other nations. And he will leave the Pentagon in the coming weeks. Dunlap is his name, Preston Dunlap. And he oversees the architecture of over $70 billion of U.S. Space Force and U.S. Air Force research, development, and acquisition programs. He was the first department-level chief architect officer in the federal government, and as the founding chief architect officer of the Department of the U.S. Space Force and U.S. Air Force for the last 3 years, warned in an interview that the Pentagon is falling behind in the technology battle, right? Here's the thing we know for sure is that when we find out about things like this, by the way, 1,673 beautiful humans in the Sned Shed tonight. Welcome, one and all. I'm David Snedeker. I'm your host, and I'm happy to be here with you. And we are seeing, whatever the case, whether it be murder, whether it be resignation, the chance that the real reason is what we're hearing is slim and none, and slim skip town. Okay. The mainstream media has been lying to us the whole time, which is also why CNN Plus has failed and will shut down at the end of April. They've also, which is very interesting, the company itself has lost 90% of its viewers in the past year. It is going the way of Netflix. Netflix is dying, as is CNN. And that's what's happening, folks. We're waking up to who are our friends and who are not our friends, right? So, okay. Let's some good stuff. Let me see. Let me get these memes up for you. I'm going to wrap this up pretty quickly here. Todd, Cindy, if you want to call in real quick, that's fine. Todd, if you got something special, but I know that you were working late tonight, and I want to call this an early show tonight. But 4 propaganda techniques everyone should know: activate strong emotions, simplify information and ideas, respond to needs and values, and attack opponents. This is very, very clear what is happening. Drag racing in the 70s, drag racing today. The 70s was a much better decade, of course. Exxon, FJB, FJB, FJB. I'd like to see you in prison. I promise to visit as often as I can. If you allow the government to break the law for an emergency, they will create emergencies to break the law. Absolutely. Mexican word of the day, Putin. This bitch needs to be put in jail. Put in jail. Absolutely. The same system that kept you in the dark about Ghislaine Maxwell and her client list doesn't mind live streaming Johnny Depp's trial. Think about that. This is a defamation lawsuit. It means nothing to you and I, and to the whole world in general. Nothing. Okay. Hey, Todd says, go ahead and wrap up, buddy. I'm dragging from breaking ground on a new garden. Todd was using a tiller to help boo his brother till a garden. Great job, brother. And glad you were able to help out your bro. Who wore it better? This is hilarious to me. You've got to be kidding me. Oh my God. Whoever did this, I want to just kiss you right on the lips. That's fantastic. Just keeps getting better and better. Netflix shares crashing. CNN Plus shutting down after 1 month. Spotify removes Obama podcast. Did you hear that? By the way, that's fantastic news. Disney and basically people removed Obama off Netflix because he just launched this nature series or something where he's narrating, and people were like, Disney stripped of special governing powers. Masks ruled unlawful on public transportation, and Elon Musk secures funding for Twitter takeover. Now, I will say this about Musk and Twitter, and let's talk about this just really, really briefly here. And that is the following. Is whatever you think of Musk or whatever we find out him to be, black hat, white hat, gray hat, whatever the case, okay? Here's the thing. Twitter can't get any worse. That's a fact. Twitter cannot get any worse. As a matter of fact, I think Twitter is worth so much less than what he's proposing. I think he can see putting $43 billion into it, changing it, bringing people back to it, and doubling its value very, very quickly. I think anybody could do that because Twitter is it's a sinking ship, no question about it. But the fact of the matter is that it can't get any worse. So if Musk takes it over and starts, stopping the censorship, it's going to be a beautiful thing, because guess what? All the lefties on Twitter that stay on Twitter and continue, and all the bots on Twitter, he's going to expose all the bots because they're not real users. And I think that's what's going to happen with this whole thing. It's certainly exposing the owners of Vanguard and BlackRock of being in collusion to keep our voices silent. But don't forget what I showed you on Monday, that Vanguard and BlackRock are also the top shareholders in Tesla. So this is one big club. And as George Carlin said, and you and I ain't in it. We are not in it, okay? So, my friends, before we pray and go about our evening, do you have any questions? I'll grab a question or two as we come along here. Let's see. Jackie says, to think I used to work Vanguard security. Netflix has $15 billion in debt. I didn't know that. Oh, by the way, I got to show you guys something here. I haven't done any commercials tonight, but I do need to show you this. And this just came today, okay? This is the Great Commander Series, Leonidas of 7K. Give you that card, and then they give you a little something on the back there, right, to tell you a little bit about them. Look at this. Look at this coin. Is that beautiful? Look at the red markings on it. It's a 69. It's 2 ounces of silver, 9.999 silver. And it's the Leonidas series. And look at that. Look at that there. It's the Leonidas series, and it shows where he ruled and where he fought against the Persians. And it's really an incredible piece. And I didn't pay anything for this, but because of what I've earned by all of you and everybody doing something, I was able to build up loyalty points. And what they do is they give you loyalty points. It's kind of like frequent flyer miles. And then you can go grab something like this. So I got this, and I've got a Ben Franklin coin that I was able to get with loyalty points. My friends, if you want to learn more about that, please check out the indoctrination. Actually, patriotsilver.gold is the website that it links you to. But you can also find us on the indoctrination.com. Wealth strategies. And here's an article. Here's something, by the way, many of you know. Let me see if I can get to it here. There we go. Resources. Let me see. We got a bunch of testimonies. And there's one from Dr. Christiane Northrup that's on here. And let me see where that is, but it's on here somewhere. And she has offered this to her listeners, and they are doing incredible work with it. And I know you know her from all the work that she has done in this fight. So please check out patriotsilver.gold for any of this information that you can find out more about it. But please also connect through the indoctrination.com, Patriot Silver, and talk to Todd, Cindy, or Nancy about how you can find out more about this. And I also just want to say, speaking of silver, Jasmine, Saints Solutions, this is the purple pet product. I spray this on my hair. I spray this on when I have a cut, and it's amazing. And silver should be a part of your survival pack, your bug out bag. because it's almost like it's a natural antibiotic, and it kills the bad bacteria and virus, and it does not kill the good. And you can find them on theindoctrination.com and scroll down and find out more about that. Also, you can find out about what Dr. Chad has to share about the jab and what people are doing. So, my friends, please check out the indoctrination. Please support this Truthcast. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you for the continuous, amazing sympathy cards you're sending me. Checks in the mail to support me through this time when I haven't been able to work. Because if I don't actively do what I do, I don't make money. The good news about 7K is I do have some money continuing to come in, and that is the benefit of the MLM structure and the direct sales structure of that. And I'm proud of the fact that we've paid out over $100,000 in 8 months, my friends. And I did want to check out, you guys mentioned that Dan just tweeted, and so I do want to check that out. And also, I wanted to real quick do the, and this is 1 minute ago. Here we go. Look at that. Man, how cool is that? Water scan. Very cool. So that's 12 seconds long. That was tweeted just a minute ago at 11:35. So let's go into the Q drops and find out what Dan might be telling us. Let's go 11:35, and let's go 12. 11:35. Funny. This was April 12th, 2018. Not too far off a Delta. This was, let me see if this is still coming up. Here we go. The crisis in journalism that's helping Trump. Interesting. Did the collapse of local journalism help give us Donald Trump? That's the intriguing thesis of a new research published by Politico. Musgrave and Nussbaum compared election results with overall trends in how many people in a given area actually subscribe to a newspaper. As they write, the results show a clear correlation between low subscription rates and Trump's success in the 2016 election, both against Hillary and when compared to Mitt Romney in 2012. Interesting that they've actually made the correlation between not subscribing to the indoctrination, the mainstream media newspaper, and how you're open to a new candidate such as Trump. Very interesting. For every 10% of households in a county that subscribe to a news outlet, Trump's vote share dropped by an average of 0.5 percentage points. How fabulous. Sirius Night 5 in kill brackets. Q. That was April 12th, 2018. Facebook, Building 8, China. Q. Yeah. Facebook is caught up in the election fraud. That's what gave Biden the election and was trying to give Hillary the election. Then Building 8 is the Facebook building that they also worked with China to establish a algorithm that China could control. Now, how significant is this that Dan tweeted at this hour? Okay, very significant. Here's why. We were just covering the Piers Morgan story and how Trump gave him enough rope to hang himself, and how he basically used Piers Morgan to discredit Piers, to discredit the network he's on now, to discredit CNN that hired him before, to discredit all of mainstream media because of the hit job that was on display. Okay? Enter the word swan equals pertinent, Janice says. Enter the word swan equals pertinent. Okay. Cool. It is very pertinent, isn't it, to what happened today. So the news unlocks the map as well as the timestamp unlocks the map. Number 12, military intelligence referenced above is the absolute biggest inside drop this board will ever receive. Now think about why Antifa plays right into the plan. Always ahead, good guys are winning. Good guys are winning. Let me see if there's anything significant to go any lower. Let me just do the mirror on this 12 and go to 21. I've dumped some crumbs like this over the weekend, which started the intense shilling. At this point, we are far enough along you can paint the picture without risk of jeopardizing the operation. This was not far along November 1st, 2017, but it is now. Okay, and what is happening is they are painting quite the picture, and we are able to just see a few brush strokes and know what the entire picture looks like. That's the remarkable thing about how far we've come, my friends, in this manner, because of our awakening. And so now we see a few brushstrokes, we can complete the painting without seeing the whole thing. This takes us April 21st. Deltas, let me just show you what we've got. We've got several here, but let's try to get, I have not looked at these yet, but let's try to get a handle on what they're talking about here. America will be unified again. Okay. Anons, I'm struggling. While we should never have gotten to the point where we need Q and POTUA, POTUS. POTUA. I don't know why he says that. Maybe it's a mistype. This is an anon. To drain the swamp forest, we nevertheless did. Fine. I trust the plan with a faith that I thought I'd lost. I think that the victory of good over evil is a foregone conclusion for our republic. Based on what we are witnessing, bad actors, evil, corrupt, venal, psychopaths eliminated from positions of power, fantastic, and Godspeed. But how do we stop it from happening again? Or are we just like the Matrix and the machines destined to keep repeating this over and over throughout history? Is there a way to win once and for all? That's my question and task for my descendants. This is what the next 6 years is about, this question. Okay? America has spoken. Look at the red. Look at the blue. They will lose black vote once Haiti is revealed. Think about that. Okay? By the way, how much of them lost the vote for forcing the jab on the black population because they know about Tuskegee? Okay? They will lose the black vote once Haiti is revealed. They literally stole children and trafficked children out of that tragedy, and also where the money went. Lost now, awakening. They keep them enslaved. What did Hussein do for the black community? Nothing. What did POTUS do? It's a laundry list. So think about all the black population here in the major cities, okay, that have been voting Democrat: Baltimore, Detroit, New York, Miami, the minority population, parts of Texas, California, Los Angeles, Washington, Seattle, all the left, all the minorities, all the illegal aliens that are in the country. Once they see what happened in Haiti, it's going to shift. 1232, April 21st, Delta. from 2018. What will next week hold? Moab. Okay, mother of all bombs. Fire up those memes. Please stand by, on the clock, ready to play. Moab incoming. The memes that Q is talking about here that we must understand is to, and I would challenge you all to get some memes ready. Find a meme maker and start getting creative with some of these things where Q says it will be swift. It will be where the good guys are in control. Panic in D.C. Things like that can help people. If people knew if 99% of the population, if the whole population knew, 99% would be in the hospital. Things of that nature, right? Get your memes ready, my friends. And what will next week hold again? Moab, right? Mother of all bombs. Expand further. April 21st, 2018. Why are we making it public? Blackwater USA. Plausible deniability plan. The world is connected. You have more than you know. Blackwater, obviously, is a, I think I'm out of water, is a mercenary group. Blackwater was actually hired by pharmaceutical companies and Monsanto to dig up dirt on those who oppose them. How are we doing with the comms, Q? We came here for a reason. Q was able to calm us 5,000 drops. That was quite a bit. This was breaking heavy gunfire in the House of Saud. So funny, the Democrats have sued the Republicans for winning now the R's counter and forced them to turn over treasure trove of material, including servers and emails. Treasure trove. Expand further. Why are we making it public? Blackwater, plausible deniability. They're going to expose everything. Okay. Let's see. Look at those palm trees. This is about Florida. We are honored, proud, and appreciative. Where we go one, we go all. Yesterday, Maggie showed with Hussein. Wendy, Maggie, focus. This is going to expose Obama. As he's, by the way, we're seeing what people think of him with the Netflix cancellation, with his Spotify cancellation. He just tried to compare Hitler with Steve Bannon today. Or Steve Bannon with Hitler today. And he's going away, okay? And this is all going to be explained to us very clearly where it's not, cryptic, so that everybody else is going to be able to understand it, but you and I are way ahead of the game. The DC journalists. Now, this is huge because what was in the news today, and we talk about how news unlocks the map. Right on cue. Hello, Maggie. Trust Funds 3. This is about Maggie Haberman of the New York Times and how she had 3 children and 3 trust funds that were deposited, routed from the EU, so that she would gaslight the Obama administration. How do you get your talking points? How many DC journalists yourself use and replace burner phones every week? How do you pass a new number out? Tweets are very important. Do you feel safe? They're using tweets to pass out numbers. If Musk, the White Hats, get a hold of Twitter, they'll have that information. I think they already have it through the NSA, but they'll be able to show it more clearly. See, if they show all that through the NSA, we're all going to be like, the NSA knows everything we're doing. We already know that, but it's not quite in our face, right? But if Musk exposes Twitter and all these numbers and how they passed them out and they were burner phones and all the illegality and also their secret accounts within Twitter, Q has told us that as well. That Jack and others have secret accounts that nobody knows about that they can communicate internally. Twitter was one of their main ways of communication. Okay, just like not Master and Commander, but Commander, the Star Wars video game. They found them communicating within there. They found them communicating within, within Signal, right? A lot of the fires out west. And Queens soon, yes. I'll get to that in a sec. So this is that Twitter's going to expose quite a bit here if they lose control of it. That's why the board is fighting against this, right? Coordinated the awakening, every detail accounted for, every scenario planned for. Excuse me, enjoy the show. Oh, here we go. The Think Public and private Twitter accounts. They all have them. These people are stupid. We have it all. Who does Haberman follow? Think private email addresses, Hussein, HRC, LL. They think they're clever. And this is the same stuff. Clinton Foundation, HIV, AIDS, the Haiti. It's all coming out. Maggie Haberman, Politico. We're going to find out who the journalists are that were lying to us. These stories will only make matter hurt if we keep pushing hard and get too much chatter out there. Push fake news, 4 a.m., MSM, pre-bad news, them. This is Rothschild, plus one, and Rothschild owns Reuters. Reuters is the organization in AP that owns AP that gives them their talking points, basically, of what they're going to talk about, right? So that's the 21st. Let me show you what's happening tomorrow. We have Earth Day, right? And Al Gore, I was thinking about him. Where is Al Gore these days? Cashing in his chips on this carbon scam, right? All the Five Eyes, very interesting. By the way, I thought of Five Eyes today. I wanted to mention this. Five Eyes is our intelligence agencies colluding with foreign governments to spy on you and me, because it's illegal for them to do it directly. So they have others spy on us, and then they get that information from them, and they share all this information. Think about that, and then put that same scenario in the bioweapons market, okay? The bioweapons market, and how we used Wuhan. We used those labs in Ukraine to create these bioweapons, not here on the U.S. soil. So think Five Eyes, okay, but five noses, okay, because these bioweapons are being inhaled and killing us all, right? This is Muslim Brotherhood trying to destroy Western civilization. Michelle Bachmann tried to defend herself. She had to, because companies like Salon were throwing her under the bus because of what was really going on here, and that is that she was exposing Huma Abedin and her ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, and the Awan brothers, and Valerie Jarrett, by the way, who was in a mask very recently, saying that she's still going to wearing a mask all by herself in a car. She's going to be exposed in her ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Follow Huma. And Hussein and his ties to the Harvard Muslim Alumni Organization. Remember Huma, Harvard Muslim Alumni Organization? And who paid Tal Walid, which ties in with Twitter. Do you see how it's all coming full circle, and also how the news is unlocking the map? Very, very important stuff here, my friends, that is being exposed, and Q is more relevant than ever. Q is more relevant than ever, my friends, because of how significant These ties are showing up right now. So that was the Dan led us down to some pretty cool stuff there, but also the deltas, okay? And let me see here. I want to see what Huma's up to real quick. She hasn't tweeted quite some time. Since March 7th. She hasn't tweeted since March 7th, right? And she's selling a book, by the way. Any book deal that you get, you have to sign on. You've got to promote the book for like a year. And you've got to go do interviews, talk shows, a whole bit. Here it is. Her last tweet was March 7th. Almost, a month and more than a month and a half ago. Okay? And she's got a book deal. So what's going on with that? Well, they've showed us many, many times. Yeah, there's a bot. I see the bot. They've showed us many times, by the way, that let me get rid of this. See if I can get rid of this bot. They've showed us many times that Twitter is white hat controlled, and that's what we're seeing with these tweets by Huma, these tweets by Hillary, and these tweets by Dan, the tweets by Melania, how they changed her tweet from 2012. And so very, very interesting that we're seeing what we're seeing. Let's see, 2055, 51. 2055. So the bot came in at 2055 on YouTube. So let me go to 2055 just for shits and giggles, because sometimes the bots are actually giving us some stuff. 2055. And let me see what the bot just took us to. September 1st, 2018. CIA officers. Who is a CIA agent? Our operations officers recruit well-placed human agents with access to secrets. These recruited spies are agents. They're invaluable. They provide critical information about their country to help America. Myth. All CIA officers recruit and handle agents. Fact. Only some officers recruit and handle agents. CIA officers work as scientists, support staff, engineers, economists, linguists, mathematicians, secretaries, accountants, and you get the idea, right? So that's Q's drop, and then it took us here to the CIA account. So why did Q drop us into the CIA, and did this bot want me to learn anything about this? Let me go to 2054, and I'm going to drop the 0 also, which we do often. National Preparedness Month. Wow. Okay. Significant. So I go to 254 and Game Theory, and 254 National Preparedness Month. What was I just telling you guys about the food shortages that are coming? Okay. Look at this. We need to prepare for food shortages. Okay. And this is straight from President Trump, by the way. Okay? So thank you, bot, for sending us here, which is accentuated my point earlier of there is a food shortage coming, my friends. No question about it. Let's see what 2056, just to see if... It must be hard to communicate. Every moment together is a moment you should not waste. Former presidents are still able to arrange skiffs. Does the American taxpayer foot the bill for the 12 hotel rooms in close proximity to the central skiff? Social Security details ordered at max perimeter. Nice color choices. A shame the windows had to be blocked out to eliminate that view. The skiffs was the voting, issue, that was watching the voting in real time, which we're seeing. We just saw a little bit of that today with the video. Yes. that was set up for that. All right. So I wanted to. What else did I want to go to in? Was it Twitter? Let me see. Okay. All right. That was just from the. Yeah. Don't report the bots, please, because it could flag the show. We'll take care of the bots when they come in as best we can. And sometimes they send us in a good place too, into a good place. So the Queen, is the Queen already dead? What is going on with the helicopter deal? What is happening with all that? Well, here's the thing. We can speculate about that all day long, but I will say this. I think the Queen is gone. I think whenever you have somebody, what we've seen, what Q has helped us to see, is that just because a person's death can be used to the benefit of those who control the narrative. They've done it with RBG. I believe they've done it with other leaders. I believe they've possibly doing it with the Queen right now, because they're looking at ways in which they can not waste this situation and not lose any control or power over the situation. We've seen movies where royalty has pretended to be alive so that they aren't conquered or another descendant doesn't take over, right? So, Lisa says the Pope is also sick. Buckingham Palace has been cleaned out. She's going to this modest estate, which I think is 20,000 acres, and it pointed us to the helicopter, which was possibly shot down over the Rothschilds' estate, we believe, with Mike Green. So that took me into the drops with the helicopter comment. So, the her and her ponies, and so at any rate, Lucinda says, I thought it was promoting China. I don't know what it's doing actually, but we'll take care of the bots. I honestly don't know what it does to us, when if we're not taking care, if it's sticking around. So at any rate, so I think that's what's going down with the Queen, and they're just gonna announce it when it benefits them. Okay. All right. So I had mentioned a couple questions earlier, and then I had to look away from the board. A lot of people think it's a fake Queen with her picture between the horses. And we don't even know if it's a current picture either. But this is her between the horses. By the way, there's 17 guards there. "17 guards behind this line here of Her Majesty's celebrations." That seems like an odd number, by the way. It is. First of all, it's an odd number, right? Okay. Second of all, why 17? Why not an even number? Okay. OCD folks everywhere are going nuts right now, right? But how odd that she's not there. 41 gun salute in London's Hyde Park. And then the guns towed away. What are we being told? What are we being told? And why wasn't she at these events? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, does it? It's just very odd that this kind of stuff is going on. Okay. So, okay. By the way, also, that China launched a supersonic missile, tested a supersonic missile. And so we know... and that was right before a summit with the White House. So on such things. So very very interesting. Okay, thank you all, and yeah. Okay. All right, my friends, if you would join me in a closing prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for the gift of this community. Thank you for the gift of this day and of each other and every breath that we take. I thank you very much for the life of my father, Wallace Snedeker, and I ask that you just hold him in your beautiful arms up there in heaven and let him know how much he is loved and how much he meant to so many down here. And I asked him to look over me. And thank you, Lord, for that, the gift of him, and watch over all of my family and Todd and Cindy, and watch over Christy, who's not feeling well, and all the Snedheads and all the team that make this such a wonderful community. And watch over all those who are in harm's way and trying to do your work and trying to defeat this satanic cabal. And we ask for your blessings on all of them and all of us. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, my friends. Thanks for hanging. And it was good quick show. 9:00. Let me get rolling here. And won't be back until Monday unless I do kind of like a late night thing, which I've been wanting to do because I got a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about just, outside of the news. Again, what I mentioned earlier tonight was that it's easy to get caught up in the indoctrination, whether we're awake or whether we're asleep. So be careful of that and let us not allow all of this news, all of this nonsense, all of this energy that is not good energy. Let it not define our day. Let it not define our life and the lives of those we know and love as best we can. We need to be aware of it. We need to make ourselves aware of it, of where the landmines are so we don't step on them, because this is life and death. We need to be aware of it enough that we can share it with each other to help them see where the landmines are. But let us not just focus on the landmines. Let's focus on the beauty of the sky, the beauty of the flowers, the beauty of the trees, the grass, the birds, the beautiful animals of this planet, each other. As we hold hands and walk through this minefield, we can stay protected and stay in the light and help each other avoid the darkness as best we can so that we can stay in the light and keep our strength, so that when it comes to defeating this darkness, we're ready for it. I love you, my friends. Be well. Please join us Saturday morning. I'm going to do a little special thing with the 7K group. Just like a little mini show on the 7K call. So please go to theindoctrination.com. Please reach out to Nancy. Please go to Patriot Silver and get on the mailing list and get on the Zoom call with us. You can even call in. You don't have to video call. So if you don't have that capability, you can just pick up a phone and dial in the number, and you can listen and be a part of that call. But it's going to be a lot of great information about 7K, but also I'm going to do a mini show on Saturday morning, just as a thank you to all the 7K folks for the support of this Truthcast and the support of your own savings and your own defense against the inflation that we're experiencing. All right, my friends, I love you. Good night. Be well. And I'll see you Monday, if not sooner, or Saturday. All right, bye-bye.